Hello, you all. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. Happy Sunday to you all. I hope that you're all having a great weekend. I'm on here to share with you all a project that I created. It took me actually all day yesterday, Saturday, to create this project, but I got it done, and then I just added a very few little details to it this morning. So before I share with you all what I used on this project, I'm going to go ahead and share with you all a Halloween curio vignette that I created with Tim Holtz and Heidi from Simon Says STEM. I never shared this with you all, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably have seen it, going on social media, Instagram and here on YouTube. But we had created this Halloween curio cabinet, and I love the way it turned out. I was so excited when I got it done because, I've never made anything like this before. So I did follow Tim Holtz design pretty much to a T. But on mine, I did my own thing, but just to get a feel of what I was doing. So we used like the little divided file box to create this vignette. And then this is some baseboards that we just cut in half and use the Halloween transparencies for the shattered glass transparencies to cover the baseboard up. So we did, just to show you real quickly, we did collage the whole box, even the bottom. And then on the back part here, we did this use distress crown to distress this to make it aged and old looking. And then we just pretty much, we collaged on the inside, did some collaging with some of the Halloween ephemera. And then after we did that, then we add our idea-a-logy pieces in here. So I have let me show you the little jack-o'-lantern, which is new this year. And this comes out, and the reason why it comes out is because it has a little light. And you just take this little pin out, this little plastic piece, and you just drop the light in, and then you just stick it back in there so it will light up, which is so clever. So I did buy me some of those little lights just for, any other projects I may create. I can have them on hand already. And then we took, and like I said, it's all idea-a-logy. With the little glass vials, we put some with some distressed rock candy glitter on the inside, and then tied a little charm around it, if you can see that. That's with the little crossbone. And then it says poison, little poison label. This glass vial right here is filled with some googly eyes that are glittered up with distressed rock candy. And then it has a 31 charm on it. And then the rest of this is just confections that we covered with distressed rock candy glitter. So that's that. And then the second shelf, same thing in the background, collage the back. We made books, but I actually made my books ahead of time. And I have a dictionary. Let me show you the dictionary real quick. Let me get it. This is a very old dictionary, just to show you real quick. Very old dictionary that I bought from my neighbor across the street several years ago. It's a Webster dictionary, and it's so old. When was it? It's very old. 1957 is when it was copyrighted. But it's so old that the pages are already distressed, and like when you tear it, I mean, you can just fold it like this and just tear it, and it'll just tear down. That's how old it is. So I use this dictionary for my my books when I make them. So yeah, so glad to have this. I got it to use for junk journals at the time when I was making junk journals, and never really used it, but it comes in handy for making these little mini books. So yeah, I just want to show that to you guys. So getting back to the project, take the light out and turn it off real quick. One moment. So you just take this little pin and you just stick it back inside the slit, and it'll turn the light off. There we go. So I just keep that in there so it's already there when I need it. Okay, so this one we did the books. We put the little skulls on top, the little drippy candles in the background, and then we got a little spider on the side. And then this shelf right here, we have a little cauldron with the baubles, and then some little bones, the moss, and then we have the tombstone that we covered with is it crypt paste? And once it dried, we went on top with some distressed crayon to age it, and then, like I said, put the moss around. And then it just says Haunted Memory with the little screw heads on each side that we glue down to the ends of the tag. So yeah, and then we got the witch's broom on the side. So that is this vignette that I created. Like I said, I never shared it with you all, but I want to share with you all now. So I'm going to share with you all what I created. So for my project, I created what I used first. I used distressed walnut stain to do the distressing around all the edges of my ephemera. I also used distressed crown and walnut stain, and also picket fence. I did use distressed paint and tarnished brass. And then I used some sprays, like distressed spray stains, to spray some of my items, and also distressed paints. So I didn't pull all that stuff down because I already put a lot of it up. And then, so here's the Christmas ephemera that I used. This is the Christmas Noel. And then I also used the 6x 3D texture phase embossing folder, and it's the lumber large. So I use that. And this is where I need the smaller size, but I use this one. And then the vignette I created is the Vignette Art Shrine. And so I used it, and this is the shape of it that I created my Christmas theme inside of. So yeah, so I got this from the Retro Art Cafe Gallery. If I'm not mistaken, they sell a lot of older Tim Holtz products. So if you're into Tim Holtz like I am, like I said, I was never always into Tim Holtz. When I started crafting, this just was not my thing. And, but, like I said, people change and your style changes. So this is what I'm into right now, and I'm loving it. So I do thank, you all for the ones that come up to my channel, watch my videos, and leave nice comments. I really appreciate that. Which everybody leaves nice comments, or nobody, or you won't leave one at all. But I hope not, if it wasn't nice. But anyway, so yeah, so this is what I used. So just to say real quickly, so if you're looking for older Tim Holtz product like remnant rubs and just older of the idea-a-logy items, the Retro Art Gallery or Retro Art Cafe Gallery, they have a lot of the older products. The Crafts Shack has a lot of older products as well. And of course, you can find older products on eBay too. But for as online stores like that, I like to shop at those type of stores. So, and find a lot of my Tim Holtz products. So if you are interested in any of those stores that I mentioned and you want me to send you the link, just let me know in the comments down below. So let me go ahead and get started and share with you all what I created with the art vignette. So here is my vignette that I created, and I love the way this turned out, you guys. I love it. And when you start, for me, when I first start off, it's a slow go because I'm trying to figure out, papers and stuff like that. But once I figure out the background, the initial background part of it, then everything else just keeps adding. You just keep adding stuff. And then before you know, you got a beautiful piece. So I'm very proud of this piece. Because like I said, I've never made anything like this. This was just following somebody else's, tutorial. But this is my own. So what I did first, I pick out and I didn't pull it out, but I used the Christmas 2025 backdrop paper. So I just did lay those down the back of each one. But before I did that, I had to make my shells. So, well, no, I put the paper down first, and then I made my shells. So I didn't have any like etc. boards, so I just used chipboard, and I glued two pieces together to fit to make my shells. And then that's where I use the texture phase 3D embossing folder, the lumbar to make my shells. So yeah, so I just use some spray stain or oxide spray. And then I use some archival ink to go on top of this to get, so it can go into the creases to give me that wood look for the shells. So you can barely see them because they're covered up now. But I did the top and the bottom to cover up the chipboard. And then, so I put the paper down, put the shelves in, and then I used some ephemera that I distressed with walnut stain, oxide ink to make all the ephemera pieces distressed. If you can see that, probably not. And then once I did that and put those pieces down, then I started putting all my idea-a-logy Christmas pieces down. So like I said in my haul video, my last haul video, I wasn't going to share with you all the idea-a-logy stuff that I purchased because I knew I was going to be sharing it with you when I make the make that I was going to make with it. So this is the first make for Christmas. So these are some of the vials. glass vials with a cork. And so I just use distressed rock candy glitter to distress all the confections and put some of them in the glass. And then I also use alcohol ink and use the baubles to, alcohol ink the baubles, I'm sorry, and put those in this glass jar. And then I use a little piece of ephemera that says 25 December. And then here's the Santa mug, and he did do a live on this yesterday, showing different ways that you can alter and create, you know, make this mug turn into something completely different, which was really nice. So I did take one of those techniques, and so I did use distressed walnut crayon, and I distressed it up really good, and then I went on top of it with distressed chunky rock candy glitter and put that on the top. So that's what you see, is that chunky glitter on top of the Santa, and I love the way that turned out, and it's really distressed. And then I use candy cane and candy cane sticks to fill the inside, and they're also covered with rock candy glitter as well. So that is the first shelf. And then I use this ephemera piece right here from the collection, and I just cut it to fit this shelf, the candy cane. And then we get to the second shelf. So I use some, like this one, I use white with red polka dot paper. This one is music note paper, if you can see. So here's a piece of ephemera. Got another piece of ephemera in the back right there. And then we have a Christmas flare, and I got those Christmas flare packs from the Retro Art Gallery Cafe. And so then I made some books with that, this old dictionary. And this is the book covers from the ephemera pack. And so I got a deer sitting on this one, and then we got a standing up deer. And I decided to go ahead and put, sorry about that, you guys. I decided to go ahead and alcohol ink a little small bell and put it around the deer's neck. And then we have the drippy candle on top of the candle stand, and I painted that with tarnished brass distressed paint. I put some moss down here, and then also some more baubles that are colored with alcohol ink. And the deers were actually darker. I did use walnut stain distress ink or paint for the deers at first, and I had to go back over it again. So I changed it to vintage photo, and I like the likeness of the deers now, so they look better to me. So that's what I did here. And I may have to glue this. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm not trying to be all close in the camera, but yeah, I may have to glue this little bell down so it doesn't be turning like that. But that's okay. It's okay. All right. So that is that shelf, and then the last shelf is where we have Santa and the Christmas tree. So I sprayed the Christmas tree with distressed spray stain, and the small one as well. And then I went on top with chunky glitter as well. Distressed chunky glitter rock. What is it called? I can never get these names right when I'm doing these videos. This is the rock candy glitter chunky. Yeah, rock candy glitter chunky. Okay, so that's what I did. So I have an ephemera piece back here with the December 1931. And then here's like a little idea-a-logy wreath that I painted with distressed paint. And then again, have some more of the baubles that are covered with alcohol ink. I painted the Santa with distressed paint as well, which wasn't too bad. And then I just distressed it on top with some walnut stain crayon, or walnut crayon, just to make it more distressed looking. And then we have a December 25th ephemera in the background. And then Santa standing on top of a wood slice. Some more Christmas baubles. And then we have the snow globe. And I got this from, because this is discontinued, but I did get it from Macari, a 2-pack, which was a very good price. And so I put a little Christmas tree in there. I painted the base of it red. And this is one of the little idea-a-logy stars. And I did use foundry wax to cover that up to make it gold. And I glued that to the front of the snow globe. And then we have some of the icicles that are also covered with chunky rock candy glitter. And then we have the Season of Magic at the top, the little word plaque, if I didn't mention this already. And I did go over that with distressed crayon and picket fence to bring out the words. And then it has a little metal screws on each end that I glued down. And then around the border, I used some of the washi tape from idea-a-logy just to go around the border to make it finished. And that is pretty much what I did. And I didn't do anything to the outside because I like the wood look of it. I was more focused on the inside. No lights on this one either, which would have been very nice to have the lights, but you know, I didn't want to get ahead of myself, so we just kept without the lights. But this is my take of the what is it called, Vignette Art Shrine that I created, and I had a lot of fun creating it. But as Tim Holtz always says, it's good to do compartmental making first. You know, glitter up all your confections, paint all your pieces, distress all your pieces, do what you have to do, and then when you're ready to create, it'll all come together very easily. Well, that was not the case for me. I hadn't done any of that, so I did all that as I was in the making of making this vignette piece. So I would know next time, which I knew this time as well, but you know, I was just in the flow of crafting, and so I did it as I was making. So yeah. So this is my item that I wanted to share with you all. I hope that y'all enjoyed this Christmas idea-a-logy shrine vignette that I created. And then, of course, the one I did for Halloween, which was a lot of fun. And it is, these two pieces at the bottom come with this shrine as well. And I just, you know, I just made it as its base. I believe that's what it's for. So I just glued them down, you know, so it can have something to stand on top of. So yeah, so that's what I did. And that is that project. So yes, you guys, so I hope that y'all enjoy my share of my vignette pieces. I do want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great week ahead. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.